You're listening to the best local sports show. Boots, Bats and Balls on Six Towns Radio.
We've got with us a special guest in today. We've got Adrian Hurst from Stoke City in the community. Welcome to Six Towns, Adrian.
Well, thank you.
Just got you in today just to tell us about some of the great work that Stoke are doing in the community. I know we've been doing lots of coverage, and we've got some City Sevens coverage coming up with interviews with Maurice Edu and Jeff Cameron from early in the week. Just tell us a little bit about Stoke City in the community and how long it's been set up.
Well, we were registered in 1989 when Brendan O'Callaghan took the reins up as he was the first community officer. It was set up in relation to some of the troubled times that football associated itself with at the time. There was a little bit of aggressive behaviour by some sections of the supporters. And the PFA set up 6 pilot projects up and down the country in 86. And then in 89, Stoke appointed Brendan O'Callaghan to lead the charge in what is now our community work. Following on from him, Paul Johnson was appointed, another former player.
Yeah.
And then Andy Morgan took over. And then I worked with both Paul and Andy, and then I was given an opportunity. So we've grown really as an organisation. I think in those days there was 3 or 4 of us, bags of balls, a few coaches, a set of bibs and some markers, and off we went and did a bit of coaching.
Mainly football at that time, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's what it was. It was about trying to get football clubs to re-engage with their community, and I think the only way that was done very early on was through just playing football with young people.
Yeah. So, in terms of the setup now, I mean, it's grown quite significantly since then.
Yeah, in 2003 we became a registered charity, which gave us a lot of options to evaluate how we could move forward. And we've developed several arms of the department now. We've got a health arm, we've got social inclusion, education, and we still maintain our sports participation arm, but that is a lot wider. We no longer just concentrate on making sure that people have got opportunities to play football. That is a key part of what we do. However, I do believe there's a lot of people who come to the stadium on a Saturday afternoon or whenever a broadcaster tells us we've got to play, and not necessarily are they able to play football, but they actually want to be active. So we've sought other opportunities for them to get involved in stuff.
So that's on a match day, being active on a match day?
Not so much being active on a match day, more, for example, the project I referred to is our Premier League for Sport project, which is about engaging high school students. Yeah. That's when there's a significant drop-off in participation in young people. We're looking at engaging them in table tennis, volleyball, badminton. It was judo, but we replaced it with hockey and volleyball. So you might think, why is a professional football club getting involved in them? But our figures of participation for that programme is probably as good as any other Premier League club in the country. It's been absolutely phenomenal, a brilliant project.
So when's that done?
That's run normally any time between school finishing. It's ideally we're trying to set up new community satellite clubs.
Yeah.
So, for example, we'd run it on a school site from 4:30 until 6:30, any time in between that.
So early evenings mainly?
Ideally early evenings, and then anybody with any talent of that, we've then got a mechanism in place to help them progress through, and we've had a couple of people who've really started moving up the ranking stats in table tennis, and it's been phenomenal. It's really been a great scheme, that is.
Otherwise that talent would have gone begging and probably not be involved and probably lose that sort of have no direction.
Yeah, I think for those of us who've played football, if you were good at football, you tend to dominate the game, and there's a lot of us that just want to play, and because it's a great sport to play in. However, if somebody in your network of people is very good at it, and they're playing in your 5-a-side or 11-a-side, they tend to dominate it. And whereas with some of the other sports, it was about people's own ability and own desire, and badminton and table tennis, racket sports, and there's nobody else to blame other than yourself, I suppose.
It's getting back to the individual and giving them the motivation.
Yeah, I think that's really important, because, like I say, not everybody wants to play a team sport. Not everybody wants to have that sort of changing room environment. However, what a lot of people do want is to be able to engage with the brand of the football club, and this was an extension of our sports participation that we do.
So just getting back to the size of how many people are involved with.
Well, we're probably looking
in terms of employees, and then in terms of how many people you touch.
I think we're probably employing somewhere in the region of there's about 32 full time, I think, at the last count.
Yeah.
And then we've got anything up to 80 casual coaches that are on demand.
So do sessions as and when required.
Yeah, and that's as much for them. We've probably got another dozen or so volunteers that just want to give up an hour or two here. And for example, on a match day, there's a number of people that do that. Yeah. So for anybody wanting to get involved, and we get a lot of students wanting to enhance their CV and look at how we can support them. And yeah, I remember somebody always giving me an opportunity once, so I'm always keen to look at how we can do that.
I think Six Towns is a similar sort of setup in terms of we're totally volunteer led, and we encourage volunteers, and again, different volunteers have got different skills, and you see them grow, within in broadcasting, which is something that we do very well. Yeah,
it's something that pleases me when you see young. I think a few years ago it used to trouble me when people left the organisation and you thought, well, what have we done wrong? Yeah. Whereas now you think, I look at it as we're developing people, and those people, if they go on and work at another football club or another industry, then that makes me proud that we've been able to help them grow and help them develop and move into the sector that they want to. I think if you look at our statistics, probably about 60 or 70% of our full-time staff all came through a work placement opportunity. And that speaks volumes for the staff that we've got in place at the minute, that they were prepared to give up the time. And you're never going to be rich working as a football coach for any organisation. There's a lot of our staff do it. They're very passionate and they're very well skilled and organised, and they just love working with young people.
Okay, that's the football side of things, and sports side of things. You do education, you do welfare, that sort of thing.
Yeah, we've got a whole host of offers for anybody who wants to get in. Our target audiences tend to be down the younger age, but we are starting to look at how we can branch out into other areas. We've got a education department that looks at work skills with young people, so 16 to 18 who currently are not in college education or training, and look at how we can support them into moving forward. Really, I think it's the best way to describe it. How they can start their journey of what they wanted to do. They may have gone somewhere and had a bad experience and tend not to be doing anything at the minute. So we want to work with them, give them a bit of direction, bit of support, and help them on the way. And we do that with these 10-week Stoke Challenge courses that we run along. And we've probably had about 600 young people come through since about 2007, and I think we're looking at about 85% of people who've come through the programme who've gone on to do something quite positive. So that could be referring back to college, finding them a job, some training, or we've had a number of young people who've just got involved with our programme. I think there's 2 or 3 of them that we now employ. We've got half a dozen who've taken stewards posts up, and somebody else who's worked in the club as well. So it's all about looking at the football club and what can we do and what can we offer for young people. There's every year there's probably about 7 apprentice places that are available. Yeah. So I'm all keen for making sure young people have got an opportunity, and if we can help them. And one of the great things, I always refer to this. We've got a lad who works for us who used to work for the City Council, and the City Council do a sterling job at many aspects. And he always talks about when he rings a young person up and says it's Tony from the City Council, the phone goes dead. When he rings up and says it's Tony from Stoke City Football Club, the phone doesn't go dead, and he's able to just get his foot in the door. And we're quite responsive, and certainly to that group of young people. And we're able to get a foot in the door, engage them quite quickly, and potentially help them move forward. So it's a good set of keys having the